So this is the iPhone 16e, and today we're going to do a speed test versus the iPhone 16 to see if it really matches up to the regular iPhone 16. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, go. Now both of these do have the same A18 chipset. However, they also both have 8 gigabytes of RAM. They also both support Apple Intelligence, but the 16 does have a little bit better GPU, so we'll see how that affects benchmarks, how it affects the actual performance. And the iPhone 16 said, I need you to cállate, or gállate in Spanish if you will, Nick, because I'm turning on faster today than your old 6-month-old 16, which by the way has many better features and specs, dual camera, better design in terms of the edges are less sharp, all kinds of things. But let's get on to the next thing. So let's go ahead and talk about the biometrics. So you can just look at both of these and Face ID will unlock for you there. You are looking at a notch versus dynamic island. So you're basically using an iPhone 12, 13, 14 with iPhone 16 internals with the iPhone 16e. Also taking a sacrifice on a dual camera for a single. Now I've been enjoying the 16 because it's lightweight, it's fast, and it does the things you need iOS to do. It feels like an entry point into the iOS platform without having to sacrifice having an older LCD touch button or home button ID, touch ID version, the older SE. So it's definitely feels mildly up to date in terms of the internals, but not so much when it comes to the actual design. But generally scrolling through the operating systems here, you're going to find almost zero perceptible difference simply because they both run on 60 Hertz and they also have the same chipset. So if anybody tells you that the 16 is actually smoother or faster than the iPhone 16e, they're not really telling you the truth because it really doesn't feel any different day to day. However, I don't know which I prefer. I don't really like Dynamic Island or the notch. I would like an all screen, but let me know which one you guys prefer down below. The old school notch or the generally newer Dynamic Island. I go like this because it's been around since the iPhone 14 Pro. So let me know down below in the comments section. All right, guys, so here we are with the app test. Everything is closed out for both. Let's go ahead and begin with calendar. And you can see not a big deal of a difference there. Let's swipe out. Pretty much the same look when coming back. And I've been thinking a lot about these two and like, is the 16e worth it, or should you just go with a 16, pay a little bit more? And it really to me comes down to the camera. Do you want the ultra wide? Also, if you want a newer looking design, it's definitely worth it. I personally, if I was like in this market for these two, I'm probably going 16, honestly. It just looks nicer, has thinner looking bezels. I get that ultra wide camera. I get that same zooming effect on both of them. So, I can do the 10x on both. So I'm going with the 16, but the 16e is still a great entry point. For those of you who want to upgrade from some older iPhones, it could be a decent option for you. But of course, a lot of other channels are going to be knocking this phone because let's face the facts. The 16e, in the eyes of somebody people have been reviewing phones for a long time, most are going to look at it like it's some hot garbage because they're reviewing phones that are pushing the edge of innovation. This phone is not about that. This phone is about the customer who just wants a basic iPhone experience and is tired of paying $1,000+ for a phone, and they don't want to do that. Let's go over here to X. Some people are saying, Nick, bro, you can't be giving them credit for this phone. They're bringing out a phone with old recycled tech, and they're putting a chip in there to make you think it's so much better. Well, really, what do you use most of the day? You use your phone as a phone. You need speed and you need it to work reliably well. What powers that? Well, it's the chip. So I have to say that I actually like having a great chip in the iPhone 16e. It's a great thing. However, I tend to also agree that, they could have probably put Dynamic Island. They probably could have put, an ultra wide if they didn't want to put Dynamic Island. I still think with this design and one extra camera, people would still buy the 16 because if it has a 6-core GPU, Dynamic Island, it still has things over this phone. So let's go ahead and head into YouTube now and we'll see what happens here. And if we click on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and click on the trending section. So if I go over here, trending, I notice more wobble there on the iPhone 16. Did you see that? Music, gaming, movies. And as we scroll through, you'll see they tend to do a good job here as well. Now, when it comes to the size, both are the same size. So you're basically going to have the same exact experience there. The iPhone 16 does get brighter though. It's a little bit of a brighter phone. So if you're looking for brighter, definitely go with the 16. If you want smoother scrolling though, I recommend neither of these. These are two of the worst options out there. If you want ProMotion, you want faster 120 hertz performance, there are much better options out there. But if you want iOS and you want it at the lowest price Apple's offering it now, these are your two options here. And they're definitely, you know, if you really think about it, they've actually increased their average selling prices to keep up, it seems like. Because years ago, you know, you would only have, you know, cheaper iPhone option for like $650, $750. We're talking about way back in the day. But now they have their top line, and then even their cheaper options are actually close to the price of their top of the line back in the day. So Apple knows what they're doing. They're not going to sell you a phone that's super, super cheap, because they don't play in that market. They don't want to play in that market. They want to play in the higher end market, if you will. They don't really, that's why the 16E takes forever to come out. We're waiting forever for this mid-range-ish phone. It still does. It's still not mid-range because it's not a mid-range price and does have a mid-range processor. So it's very clear that Apple wants to position themselves as, and I think I'm having issues because they're loading on the same server, or on the same account. But it's very clear that they don't want to play in that cheaper phone game. So let's go to hit play. They don't want to be seen as that cheap phone brand, I feel like. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and swipe up out of here. We'll go into Race the Sun, and we'll see what happens here under Race the Sun, and game mode's in triggered for both. I think a lot of people, though, that don't care about camera are going to absolutely love the iPhone 16e. They're just going to love that it's so fast. It feels like a newer phone. They got a fresh warranty, 1-year warranty. You know, you got a fresh new iPhone. They're not going to care. Let's go into real racing. It's me and you who cares. Us tech fans, we're like, what the heck is this? After seeing these triple camera, 4-camera beast phones from the Android side, the Samsung devices out in the world, the S25s, all these like really nice competitors, even mid-rangers with triple cameras, me and you who pay attention to this stuff, we're going to notice. The average consumer doesn't care. Believe that. Especially here in the US, they don't care. They're going to buy these things in droves and wait till this holiday season. It's going to be a great, easy waits for somebody to get, you know, a kid or somebody an iPhone, or somebody, you know, they want to get somebody a present. They don't want to pay top dollar. It's just a phone. This one's going to sell. I'm telling you, it is. Regardless of the fact that there's it's an Apple device. People like Apple. It's just what it is. If you don't like it, well, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to change things. And I'm not saying that from my perspective only. I'm just saying, like, in general, it's very clear that people like Apple. So you can't stop them from liking what they like. It's their decision, whether you like it or not. I'm talking to the haters, by the way. Me and you are just having a conversation, but you'll see as we scroll into 3D Mark, everything's good. We'll go into Geekbench 6, and that pops open first here on the right. What was interesting to note here, though, is that I've seen that this is at 4.04 gigahertz on both. So you are actually getting the same clock speed over here. And you actually have a little bit, what is, according to Geekbench 6, slightly higher memory on the left, or usable memory anyway. We'll see how that affects benchmarks later. We'll go into speed test net. And you'll see one of the areas that Apple is improving with the iPhone 16e is their C1 modem. It's a great way to test, because if it doesn't work out well for them, at least it wasn't on one of their top-end phones. It makes a lot of sense why they would put it here. It's a good test run for them to see how well it fares with consumers. So basically in the app test, you've seen there was virtually zero difference across almost every single app. There you go. The 16e is a 16 performance, and regular daily app performance, it's pretty much a 16. It really is. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and see how this performs in the RAM management. One of the things that still shocks me is that I could have some Android phones that have, 120 hertz. They have great performance. And while they do look smoother now because they're really improving animations these days, iOS can sometimes still be more stable and still look more nice with the animations. So it's pretty nice that you can get this 16E with this type of performance. I would like to see 90 hertz make it to, or 90 or 120 to make it to the regular 17s, because they're going to be charging 829 and now 600 for this. This should be the entry level with 60 hertz like it is now, and that one should definitely go to promotion. And I don't expect any difference here with the iPhone 16. Some people were saying that 18.3.1 has slowed their 16 models down. Let me know if that's an issue for you. Sometimes that can happen in the first few days and then it picks up. Now, Brawl Stars didn't reload. It was just not open because of the account issue, but this one looks like a reload. That was strange. So we had one reload here on the 16. We'll go over here to YouTube. We'll go to Amazon, Instagram, X, App Store, News, Weather, Calculator, Clock, and Calendar. So just that one minor thing, the Jetpack Joya. But other than that, they both did really fantastic. Not a major difference. All right, guys, so let's do some quick internet browsing. You can see here we are on Apple's website. They just launched 2 new iPads, iPad Air with M3, and also the base iPad without Apple Intelligence, which is okay because most people buying this one are probably just buying it as a general tablet. They don't really probably need Apple Intelligence. If you need that, you're probably going to use a higher end product anyway. And as you see scrolling through, no major issues in terms of web browsing. It's going to be about the same. So zooming in, no massive issues. Both of them do a fantastic job when web browsing. And here are our final scores for Geekbench 6, and you could see 3246, 3377. So we had a slight increase there on the 16. Also a better multi-core score. So this is what I wanted to see. I figured because of the better GPU, this is going to be a little bit better on the 16, and it sure was. So let me go ahead and swipe up out of there. And we'll go over here into 3D Mark, and we're going to do a Wildlife Extreme test to see if the graphics are actually better for the 16. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll be back when they're done. We'll check out the frame rates and see how it tends to perform. And once again, we're seeing the iPhone 16 take the lead over the iPhone 16e in the GPU, 4022 versus 3234 and 24.1 FPS. So this is interesting. If you want to game on your 16 regularly, well, you're going to be playing a bunch of games, just get the iPhone 16. It's going to be the better option. It also has better heat management. I noticed that the 16e, it gets pretty toasty when I'm really pushing it already. So this one's going to be the better option if you really want to push the phone a little bit harder. All right, so let's go ahead and do a Wi-Fi speed test here. We'll start over here with the iPhone 16e. We'll see what that can pull in today. And then we'll go ahead and try the iPhone 16 when that one is done. So let's go ahead and make sure we're on the same servers here. So we're getting about 102, 126, so not bad. And pushing about 140, 169. So not bad there on that phone. Let's go ahead and bring the 16 back in. We're now on the same server. That's actually pretty horrible. I guess everyone's on Wi-Fi this morning. So you can see 12 on the upload. Not amazing. Let me go ahead and try this one now. And we'll see right here that we are pushing even similar speeds. We'll see if it can wrap up at around the same. That would be quite nice, honestly, for the iPhone 16. So 117, 118 on the upload or on the download, and that actually lost to the iPhone 16e. The 16e has been doing really good. I think it beat the 16 Pro Max, if I'm not mistaken, in my prior test. So this thing's been doing good with the connectivity, the network speeds. It's probably pretty decent with that C1 in there as well. So you'll see right there 10.2 on the upload. So the 16e did better in that test. So the last thing I want to do before we wrap things up is go ahead and do a camera test, see the shutter speeds, launch speeds, stuff like that. Actually, no, let me not bring in the Android, man. That might anger a few Apple users. So let's go ahead and bring in the 16 Pro, the king daddy of both of these two. So let's go ahead and open this up. And these I shouldn't drop. They're pretty easy to hold. Let's hit camera. And the 16e launched at first. Let's do this again. 3, 2, go. Yeah, the 16e slightly ahead. Let's do that again. 3, 2, go. Yep, once again, I'm wondering if it's because there's 3 cameras. You can see right there. We're going to just do the 2x because you can't go ultra wide on the 16e. And you could see, let's go ahead and take a 1x shot. 3, 2, go. 3, 2, go. So you're not going to miss no shots there. On the 2x, You can see right there, pretty good. Also, no macro mode looks like there for the iPhone 16e. So again, another feature enhancement for the iPhone 16. So let's wrap it up here. The iPhone 16e is a little bit scaled back version of the iPhone 16, but this speed test should have shown you in performance that it's only a little bit scaled back. It's not massive, but it isn't a 16. So if you thought it's exactly a 16, no, it's not. This has a better GPU. It outperforms it in benchmarks and will outperform it in games. Also has a little bit better heat management in my experience. In addition, better camera, dynamic island. There are upgrades that are probably worth it for some people. But entry level, the 16e is a decent option and definitely better to me than the older SE 2022. But I still think Apple could have did a little bit more with the 16e. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.